So welcome. In this presentation, we are going to speak about the West facet of wholeness. And the archetype, it's called the Muse Beloved. So imagine autumn, sunset. Colors are changing, landscape is changing, the energy is a little bit low. Imagine the colors of the sunset and the leaves of the trees slowly, slowly falling down. This is the felt sense of what West is in nature.
And if you already imagined this image, this scenery that Sandra has explained, you have already accessed your West resource. The language of the West is the imagination. The language of the West is lyrical and poetic and romantic and mysterious and dark occasionally. Yes, this is the language of the West. Maybe you already feel it in your, on your skin. So the archetype in the West facet of the self, in the West facet of the wholeness, is the Muse Beloved, or the Dark Muse Beloved. And we're now going to share more details about each one of these words.
So the Dark Muse Beloved, in which the darkness, it's the most fruitful darkness. We really need this kind of darkness because it is filled with treasured unknown, which is to say mystery, which is to say not yet known potentials and treasures and resources. And if we say yes to this kind of darkness, we say yes to transformation. And in order to say yes to transformation, we have to say yes to death as well. Here in the realm of West, we are enchanted by death. The death that I'm talking about is the psycho-spiritual death, the death of maybe the old identity in order to make space for the new identity to blossom. There's a quote that I really, really love that says something like this: "Most of us want to be reborn, but few of us dare to die." This quote is inviting us to embrace this kind of death, embrace this kind of falling apart of the old identity and say yes to transformation and change.
And this transformation, this change is so much needed nowadays, especially nowadays. I think there is a massive fear of death, physical death and psycho-spiritual death. We push that death, little death, further and further because we are scared of this transformation and we are a little bit stuck in a small story. This part of ourselves, the West part of ourselves, is inviting us to leave behind the little story and give ourselves into a greater story, a greater version of ourselves, which is in service of the whole world.
Well said, Eleni. We are scared of the death because maybe what scares us more is the unlived life.
Perhaps a great assistant in going into the darkness is the muse, the archetype of the muse. And this word, the word muse, is a Greek word, and it's referring to the 9 goddesses of the art and literature. And you may already connect this word muse with the word music. And they are connected because this is our innate resource of abundant creativity, abundant imagination, abundant inspiration. This is the part of us which has these insights, ideas on how to do things, and maybe not the way necessarily, putting your hands and doing it, but the imagination. The muse speaks in vision, speaks in notes of music or images. We need the muse to inspire us. There are so many projects going on in the world, but how many of them are really based, inspired from the muse? We live in an era where so many things are being done, but so many of them are uninspired and without the vision, without the perspective, without the juiciness of the art.
You are not alone when you are writing a poem or dancing or painting a piece of drawing, or when you have a soulful idea. Muse is visiting you with inspiration. It feeds your soul and generates these soulful ideas. We are in relationship with mystery through our muse. Mystery speaks to us in this language of poetry, of art, of inspiration, of imagination. And we are just channels of a greater vision that comes from above. So when you are dancing, when you are writing a poem, when you are having a vision for your community, you are visited, you are embraced by your muse, and together you are creating these life-enhancing projects or pieces of art.
So as Sandra said, when you're dancing, it's not the steps that you learned in a school dance, but it's the steps that are being guided by your muse. You do not know necessarily your next step, but your muse knows how to navigate you, how to lead you in this dance.
So we're in West, and the West is the Dark Muse Beloved. And we are going to speak now a little bit about this beloved, and we are going to call it Inner Beloved. Inner Beloved. Who is this Inner Beloved? Because most of our lives we are in search of the outer beloved, a partner, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife. But most of what we are searching, maybe in the outer world, we have to search in the inner world. Because most of the qualities that we are projecting on the outer beloved are qualities that the inner beloved owns. And we have to claim them, we have to see them, we have to incorporate them in our life. So the inner beloved, it's this inner lover of ours. And it's this love relationship that we are capable to have with ourselves. Inner beloved is teaching us the language of love, the language of romantic love. And holding this one, holding the inner beloved by its hand, we can go in the world and conquer it in a love-making way. Yes, the poetry is the language of this inner beloved. And this is how we show ourselves in the world.
And sometimes I'm curious, how would the world be if every one of us would fall in love with ourselves? How would our lives be? How would we be? How would we develop or open or change if we fell in love with ourselves?
And we can fall in love with really anything. From this West part of our psyche, we can fall in love with our inner beloved, we can fall in love with an outer beloved, but we can fall in love with a landscape, with an idea, with a vision. We truly are capable to love romantically anything in this world. And yes, way to that, what you just said, Eleni, how would the world look like if everything that we would do would be a love dance, a love affair with the world?
Seems like the muse is visiting me, Sandra, because I have some more inspiration based on what you said. And maybe I will introduce once more the Greek language here. I will bring the word cosmos, which is the word of the world, right? The universe. And the word cosmos is connected with the word cosmetics, which means beauty, right? Cosmetics is about how to beautify things, because actually the word cosmos means beauty. And it is said that this is what we lost. We humans of the 21st century, we lost our ability to fall in love with the world, to be amazed and enchanted by the beauty of the nature and the humans and ourselves. And because we lost this love, this falling in love with the world, we do not feel our connection, we do not care for the world as much as we would if we were in love with the world, or we do not care as much as we should for the people or for ourselves. And this is an invitation from the West facet of ourselves to fall in love again with the world, with the cosmos, with ourselves.
Imagine if the world would be your beloved. Would you harm your beloved? Or would you protect it and love it and appreciate it and make anything that is in your capacities to make it blossom and appreciate its gifts and resources? So this West facet of wholeness, it's also the portal to soul. It's also the doorway to this realm where soul lives. And when we talk about soul, and what Bill Plotkin refers when he speaks about soul, is that our uniqueness, what makes us really unique on this cosmos, on this earth. And just to quote some lines of David Whyte, in which he describes soul, he says something like, it is the truth at the center of the image you were born with. So just imagine that, the truth at the center of the image we were born with. And we were all born with this image, with this maybe mythopoetic identity, with this greater story that awaits for us to inhabit it. And we have to go west, we have to go into this darkness, transformation, muse, inner beloved, to find soul, to find the purpose, and to bring it back to the community and to serve it. We need our soul, and as much as we need our soul, the world, the hungry world, needs our gift to be delivered.
And now we want to offer to you 2 invitations with which you can cultivate, reawaken your inner resources of the West, and they can work for you, for yourself, or for the people that you work with. The first invitation is this one. Take a piece of clay, close your eyes, and invite your muse to come into your being and work this clay through your hands. It's not about knowing the end result or having an end result, but it's about exploring and being in conversation, being in love with the muse. In the end, you may want to continue being in this conversation with a piece of art that your muse will inspire you to create.
Another possibility, a second invitation here, would be a nature wander. So again, we are inviting you into the nature, into the wild place, crossing a threshold perhaps to shift consciousness and to leave behind the middle world and to enter in this sacred world. And this time, we're inviting you to wander and to be called by a place that really allures you, but really scares you. A place that you don't really feel comfortable. It has to have this West energy of mystery, darkness, death. And once you find this place, stay there. Even if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, stay with that uncomfortableness. Open your imagination, open your senses, allow feelings to come and visit you. And take your journal, and you're invited to write some poetry, some lines. Invite Muse to be part of this process, to guide you, to inspire you. And again, don't be too attached to the outcome, but rather enjoy the process. Enjoy the world of metaphor and symbol, and be in this love relationship with them.
Coming to the end of this video, we really want to remind you that everything you heard about West is everywhere else in the sunset and in the autumn path. It is primarily in each and every one of you, in each and every one of us. And the real West is to look inwards and find this beauties, these resources, and enliven them. Bring them again into your life.